I don't sell insurance. Retirement plans are stupid. I'd rather have the funds now than a couple of years before I die. I got this comment on one of my videos and it felt like the perfect one to address and create a fun educational experience from. I've learned over the years that there are many people that feel the same way. I have even seen many finance gurus dogging on retirement plans. Now, they're typically insurance salespeople are trying to sell you their latest real estate investing seminar, but as this person commented, they're not an insurance salesperson and they still think that retirement plans stink. Most people who have this viewpoint are usually referring to the fact that you can't access your retirement funds without a penalty before the age of 59 and a half. However, I'm here to argue how useful a retirement plan can actually be, and some points that may have you rethinking if retirement plans are actually stupid. The first thing that I want to address is the fact that this person mentions that they won't get access to the funds until a couple of years before they die. The age that you can pull from your plan is 59 and a half in the US, even though there are some ways to get money out of some plans sooner. They're called penalty exceptions. Side note, you can pull out your original contributions from a Roth IRA at any time. You've already paid taxes on it. So why not take the option of tax-free gains later in this case? Okay, back to life expectancy. We don't actually know when we're going to die, but part of wise retirement planning is trying to look at how long your family members lived and your overall health to try to get an idea of what your life expectancy will be. It's hard to do solid retirement planning without this piece of the puzzle. So we take our best guess and we use data to help us out. Let's actually look at the average life expectancy in the US. I pulled a report from the Social Security Administration that shows what life expectancy has been at birth over the years. Life expectancy has actually been increasing over time, and women tend to live longer than men. Now, let's go even further and take a peek at life expectancy at age 65 for different birth years. You'll see that someone who was born in 1980 was expected to live after 65 years old an additional 19 and a half years if they're male, and another 22 years after 65 if you're female. So using these numbers, if you're a male born in 1980, that's a total of 25 years after age 59 and a half that you'll need to fund life and health expenses with. You can also actually go onto the Social Security Administration website, plug in your sex and your date of birth to find out what they show as your life expectancy. However, this does not take into account your health or your family history. So yeah, you may have many, many years past 59 and a half to use the money that you invest. Up to a couple of decades, give or take. Of course, no one knows when the end of life will come, but generally speaking, people are living longer these days, and the idea is to prepare for that. So why else are retirement plans cool? Reason 2, asset protection. Don't sleep on asset protection. It's important, and 401ks have exceptional asset protection against creditors. A qualified retirement plan protected by ERISA law will be covered to an unlimited dollar amount. This is going to be plans like 401ks, pension plans, profit-sharing plans, and stock bonus plans, just to name a few. Non-qualified plans are not protected by ERISA law, like an IRA. But it still has protection up to limits determined by your state. It's typically around $1 million of coverage. So I wouldn't consider this something to snooze on. You never know what life is going to bring you, and you absolutely want to have some of your assets protected from creditors. Okay, now it's time to talk about a wonderful reason why you'd want to have a retirement plan. Reason 3, tax deferment or tax advantages that allow you to tax diversify. Everyone say it together, tax diversify. Tax deferment is where money is contributed pre-taxation and then it grows over time and you don't pay tax on the contributions or growth until you pull it out in retirement. Tax advantaged is different. These are your Roth accounts where you pay tax today on contributions in exchange for tax-free qualified withdrawals later. Those paying lower tax rates would want to take advantage of a Roth. And Roths have all kinds of advantages in retirement. Here's why retirement plans are handy. If you're paying a higher effective tax rate, also known as your average tax rate today, the government is literally allowing you to postpone some taxation at your high rates today by using a retirement plan. They want you to invest for retirement because guess what? Most pensions have gone bye-bye, and the government surely can't provide lavish lifestyles with Social Security checks. They know this. So you have to think of the money you save on taxes by using a tax-deferred account in addition to projecting what your tax rate may look like in retirement. Then the question becomes, do you think you'll come out ahead on an after-tax basis by utilizing a tax-deferred or tax-advantaged account? Usually, you project how much income you'll need every year to give you an idea of what taxes could look like for that income level. You're probably thinking, I have no idea what tax rates will look like in the future. And that, my friend, is the right answer. No one actually knows. This is why I love tax diversification. This is using a mix of tax-deferred, tax-advantaged, and straight-up taxable brokerage accounts to get a nice mix. You need retirement plans to achieve tax diversification and avoid tax drag. So you may be wondering, well, how likely is it that tax rates go a lot higher in the future anyway? Well, let's dig into some data. Here is what bottom and top tax brackets have looked like historically. The orange line is the top tax bracket since the 1920s, and the purple line is the lowest tax bracket since the 1920s. You can see that the highest tax bracket in orange has had a little bit of a wild ride, from a low of 7% all the way up to 94% in 1944. The lower tax brackets have been a bit more steady. Side note, there were like 1 million tax brackets in the 1940s. It was crazy. They had 24 tax brackets, and today we just have 7. Thank goodness. So I was digging into the data and I got a little curious. In 1944, if you were married filing jointly, you were taxed at 94% on income above $200,000. So I adjusted that for inflation, and in today's dollars, that's over $3 million of income that starts to get taxed at 94%. So they really were taxing the wealthier people. Today, as it stands, we don't tax a couple filing jointly at 37% until their income exceeds $301,000. So I went back to 1944 to see what amount of money they started taxing a married filing jointly couple at 37%, and it was $8,000 back then. So I adjusted that for inflation, and that amounts to roughly $125,000 in today's dollars. After that, your money moved through some pretty unfavorable tax brackets. So the government is actually much more generous today, but we know that this is affected a lot by who's in the Oval Office and Congress. Not to mention, what's going on with our economy can affect taxation in a major way. So what is the key takeaway from all of this madness that I'm bringing up? Where it all shakes out with tax rates, we don't know. We have seen periods of higher tax rates in history, and we could very well see them again. But we're more global now than ever. We have a very different economy than we ever have had, and the U.S. needs to compete with other countries and continue to be an attractive place for individuals and business owners. The truth is, those in lower tax brackets already may not actually see a huge change in taxation from now through retirement. Sure, they may see some change, but it may not be as extreme unless we see some pretty major policy changes. I'm looking at you, healthcare. So the question of giving up a tax deduction today by not utilizing a retirement plan is a much more important decision if tax rates don't actually shift much for you over time. You can never get that tax deduction back, and it's possible you end up paying Uncle Sam more than you actually had to if you don't properly plan for this. The key point is that retirement plans give us optionality to diversify this risk based on your beliefs. Whether it's a traditional, Roth, or both, it's giving you some optionality. Reason 4 to have a retirement plan is if you're a spender. Hey, if saving money isn't your greatest attribute, you need to force yourself somehow. And what better way than having to pay a 10% penalty tax if you pull your money out of your retirement plan before you're supposed to? Guess who had the best investment returns according to this older study at Fidelity? The best performers were dead. The second best performers forgot that they even had an account, usually left behind old 401k accounts that people completely forget about. So yes, sometimes it's for your own good that your money is in a retirement plan out of sight, out of mind, while your investments are compounding over time, and if you touch them, you're gonna get penalized. In fact, even Congress is thinking about how to help more people get auto-enrolled in retirement plans. They recognize that people aren't saving enough for retirement when the decision is left to them, or they tinker with their investments too much and they're just not having good performance. You won't be as tempted if you utilize a retirement plan, and you'll be reaching your goals in the process. So before you talk that smack about retirement plans, hopefully you consider these very important benefits. First, you may live for potentially decades after you're able to access your retirement fund. So you'll be thankful that you prepared for that possible longevity. Retirement plans also provide incredible asset protection. Don't sleep on that. Retirement plans give us the ability to tax diversify since we don't have a tax crystal ball. And retirement plans are great vehicles for those who find it difficult to save with discipline. Remember, the best investors were dead. Set it and forget it. Out of sight, out of mind. Compound that money, honey. This isn't even a full list of the benefits, but it's a very good start. If you found this video helpful, please like it and subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss future videos, and I'll see you next time.